There's never been a better time to buy a pre-owned Harley-Davidson Evolution Sportster. These 1986 to 2022 models span 37 years of production and a wide variety of factory trends and styles. The foundation of all Evolution Sportster models is a rugged 883, 1100, or 1200 Evolution V-twin engine, a stout cradle frame, a telescoping front fork, quality disc brakes, and a traditional swing arm rear suspension with coilover shock springs. The channel has covered major shifts in design like rigid mount versus rubber mount engines, the unique 1986 to 2003 trapdoor transmission access, 4- and 5-speed transmissions, and carburation versus electronic fuel injection. While your personal taste will dictate the styling, trim, and level of performance you want, there are universal concerns when buying any Evolution Sportster motorcycle. In this segment, we'll take a look at available Sportsters in the current market. I've used CycleTrader online ads as a baseline and chose prime examples from current ads. CycleTrader screens its paid ads to a degree, which raises the ad credibility. There are other ad sources like Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist with offerings in your area. I did find the final listing at Craigslist. On any pre-owned vehicle search, we need to ask the right questions and practice due diligence. My comments clarify why each of these Evolution Sportsters has made the top 20 list and is worth a closer look. Searching for the channel's own Evolution Sportster has now narrowed to specific models and equipment preferences. I have expectations that may not be the same as yours, and that's okay. Despite my model and equipment choices, I have chosen a wide cross-section of popular Sportster models for this review. My preferences pop up as we go through carefully selected Sportster ads. When hunting through the ads, we look at each motorcycle's assets and shortcomings. My comments share what I look for in photos. When shopping for a pre-owned Evolution Sportster, we're always conscious of pricing. Exceptional value drives several of these 20 picks. Based on your preferences, you'll find picks that deserve a closer look or follow-up. Shopping for an Evolution Sportster is fun, so let's do it. First on this search is a classic and somewhat rare 1999 XL1200S Sport. The model was produced from 1996 to 2003 with a rigid frame, dual-disc front brakes, a CV40K carburetor, and a trapdoor transmission for ease of service. This bike appears to be a time capsule, with only 8,227 miles and a distinct look of originality. The 1998 to 2003 version of the XL1200S Sport features factory 10-to-1 compression, Buell Lightning dual spark plug cylinder heads, hotter camshafts, an upgrade ignition, and a steeper lean angle than other Sportsters of that era. This 1999 model is an alluring orange. A serious buyer should perform a close inspection to confirm the bike's originality, its true mileage, no drops, and the authenticity and condition of the factory paint and trim. The mid-controls are original. The seat and sissy bar are Harley-Davidson aftermarket. The biggest attraction of the XR1200S is Harley-Davidson's effort to build a model that handles and performs well. This is a dealer's sale. The asking price is $49.99. Delivery or shipping from coastal Virginia could be negotiable. As for resale, this bike has collectible potential. The rigid frame Sportster Sport evolved into the rubber mount Roadster model. Our second cycle is a 2006 XL1200R Roadster. This is the last year for a carburetor. Though heftier than the rigid mount engine XL1200S Sport or 2002 and 2003 XL883R models, the 2006 1200R Roadster performs well and continues the unique and distinctive dual front rotor brakes. The cycle's clean appearance and striking originality earned a place on the top 20 list. Mileage is high at 53,595 miles. The very low $2,250 asking price reflects that mileage. At this price, there would be room for a DIY top engine refresh, which could be needed soon. A bigger concern with the rubber mount engine is transmission wear. Gear work requires engine removal and a complete teardown to access the gear sets. Were I interested in this bike, a test ride would focus on the transmission and any lower engine noise. Consistent service records and confirmation that the bike has not been damaged or run without engine oil would take the sting out of the mileage. If you sublet your service work, price a top engine rebuild before considering an Evolution Sportster with this kind of mileage. At this price, the bike found a new home in days. Next is a 2019 XL1200NS Iron. You get essentially a new motorcycle if the powertrain has not been abused and if the bike is undamaged and never dropped. This is a private party sale with a reduced price of $6,500. An excellent value if represented properly by the owner. The motorcycle would be optimal for a buyer wanting this look and equipment on a nearly new 1200 Iron. Peering into the photos reveals a shorty exhaust system and the addition of forward controls. This exhaust setup would earn an excessive exhaust noise ticket anywhere. I would want the original exhaust system and mid-controls as part of this sale. If the bike has 49 state EPA-only emission certification, the motorcycle has too few miles for registration at California. An out-of-state 49 state emissions motorcycle with less than 7,500 miles on the odometer cannot be registered at California. This 2007 XL883 is very clean and original. A classic look with a normal ride height and saddle height. This is the first year for dependable Delphi fuel injection on the rubber mount engines. This style bike would make a nice sleeper with a 1200 to 1275cc big bore kit. Remarkably low, 4,650 miles, makes this a great start. Confirm that the bike is as original as it looks. No drops or damage, a clean title, and consistent history. History is everything with pre-owned vehicle purchases. Confirm the history with a paper trail as far back as possible. With a good history, this bike at $4,695 could still have some wiggle room on the price, especially if shipping is involved. The late Roadster is not rare, though it is unique. Beefy Showa 43mm cartridge inverted front fork legs, dual 300mm front disc brakes, a 30.9-inch saddle height, and extra ground clearance for more lean angle make this a legitimate factory cafe racer. A clean 2016 example with only 5,551 miles, the low mileage helps explain the $7,995 asking price, which the dealer notes is negotiable. A discount to offset shipping costs would help. Add-ons include a Harley-Davidson Stage 4 kit, Arlen Ness exhaust, LED Daymaker headlight, a Harley-Davidson Milwaukee seat, the left side soft saddlebag, and LED smoked lenses. The stock mid-controls were left in place and not replaced with forward controls. If you're a fan of the modifications, great. If not, make sure this bike comes with the original parts that were removed. Stock parts could easily restore the bike. If the bike has a 49 state EPA-only emissions decal and no California sticker, it is below the minimum mileage needed for registration at California. Under the current rules, without a California emissions certificate and decal, the motorcycle must have 7,500 miles or more on the odometer and the dealer purchase papers before it is eligible for California registration. The 48 is a Harley-Davidson theme look. Its peanut tank, popularized on the early Ironhead Sportster, dates to the 1948 DKW 125cc two-stroke motorcycle that was rebadged by Harley-Davidson as the S-model Hummer. Though not the most practical cruising capacity, the small tank has a great profile. This 48 caught my attention despite my preference for sport-handling bikes. A tastefully accessorized 2010 48 model, the silver tank complements the classic graphics and blackout engine. Forward controls and a solo seat, in this case an upgrade aftermarket item, are factory equipment. The seller is a private party, and the price of $6,250 reflects the low 3,700 miles on the odometer. EFI and modern chassis features blend with the classic big-size wire wheels, An extra black fuel tank is included. The windshield doesn't look out of place, as it does on many Sportster models. If unblemished and running well, this would be a roadworthy cruiser. By 2010, many chassis, engine, transmission, and EFI upgrades were in place. Delphi EFI effectively met 50-state emission standards through 2013 without the need for catalytic converters. The XL1200C custom model is readily available in the Evolution V-twin market. The custom's popularity is its mild chopper look. This 2008 XL1200C custom boasts a rubber mount engine and the second year for Sportster EFI. Harley-Davidson changed axle shaft and bearing sizes during this period. For a stock and clean bike with original equipment, the $4,500 price seems reasonable and is still negotiable. Some may be uneasy with the 19,992 miles. This is not unreasonable for a 2008 Sportster and arguably better than a lower mileage bike that has been in storage for decades and the seals dried out. Were it not for the obvious care that this bike has received, the mileage could be a turnoff. Instead, it's a bargaining chip when negotiating the purchase at this independent dealership. An Evolution Sportster in this condition should be good for at least 15,000 to 20,000 more miles of riding before needing attention beyond routine service. I would remove and test the in-tank fuel pump and change the fuel filter at the same time. The 2018 XL883 iron is a popular choice. This model carries to the final 2022 Evolution Sportster. An excellent private party value, this bike is priced at $5,000. Mild upgrades include a handlebar riser, front fairing, and a rear seat with foot pegs. It's at 8,300 miles, and this is a California seller, so the cycle should be 50-state emissions legal for registration anywhere. Very clean, this XL883 iron looks garaged and well kept. Worthy of a follow-up if the model is on your want list. EFI makes this bike a ready candidate for a 1200 kit. When upgrading an 883 with a 1200 kit, be sure to have a Harley-Davidson dealership reflash the ECM software to match the 1200 fuel map. Another time capsule is this upgraded 1988 Evolution Sportster that began as an XL883 SuperLow and has been built to a 1200. A 4-speed model with a rigid engine mount frame and trapdoor access to the transmission, the bike is a classic with popular upgrades. 17,810 miles, modest for the bike's age, is reasonable and offset by the 1200 kit that was installed at some point within this mileage. This motorcycle is for a buyer who wants a true classic among the early Evolution Sportsters. The asking price is $4,995 and should be negotiable. Offered by a dealership, shipping could be part of a negotiated deal. The SuperLow has been a popular model, and this 2017 XL1200T is very clean. The odometer reads a moderate 8,218 miles. I consider 10,000 miles or less to be low to moderate for an Evolution Sportster that has been maintained and garaged or sheltered properly. This is especially true for a later EFI model for the reasons I share in the channel's carburetor versus EFI videos. I am a stickler for originality and want a bike as close to stone stock as possible. When I look at a motorcycle, any aftermarket modifications or installed accessories are under suspicion. I would rather do any changes, upgrades, or modifications myself. Some buyers do not have the tools, equipment, or practice skills to do this. The channel's how-to videos will help here. If doing your own work is not possible now, look for a Sportster that has the kind of changes you want. Worth noting, installed accessories are always less costly than buying these parts new and paying for their installation. Decide for yourself. This original condition bike is priced at $6,995 by a dealership willing to negotiate. Shipping may be available. All asking prices for any motorcycle are subject to the seller's willingness to work with you, the buyer. This is a sharp and largely original rigid frame 2001 XL883 Hugger, setting low and lighter. The Hugger is smart for those looking for an easy-to-mount cycle with good performance and handling. The bonus with this model year is subtle chassis and transmission upgrades, including improved serviceability around wheel bearings and other points. Rigid mount engines from 1986 to 2003 all have trapdoor access for in-the-frame transmission service. Carbureted with a simpler ignition makes roadside troubleshooting and repairs possible. This bike looks as close to stock as practical. It does have add-on forward controls and a longer seat. With 7,990 miles on the clock and an asking price of $4,500, this Flip My Cycle ad at Cycle Trader would be worth a closer look or a phone call with questions or an offer. An attention-grabbing burgundy, this clean, original-appearing 2009 XL1200C Custom has 10,522 miles with an asking price of $4,995. Forward controls and the full seat are stock. This model has EFI, a rubber-mounted engine, and a good reliability record. The stock appearance and signs of good maintenance help offset the mileage, although there should be many more miles of trouble-free riding left in this motorcycle. I would review available service records closely. This is a dealer's sale, which leaves room for price negotiation and possibly arrangements for shipping. A bright yellow color scheme highlights this 2017 XL1200C Custom. The larger fuel tank and windshield give this bike a touring profile. Stock forward controls and a comfortable solo seat encourage longer rides. The very low 2,522 miles and later model status explain the $6,575 asking price. A dealership sale, there's room for negotiation and possibly shipping options. Are you longing to eat up miles with a very low mileage motorcycle? Start by asking for service records to be certain this seemingly pristine motorcycle has not been dropped, damaged, or run low on engine oil. This is a mystery bike, offered by a dealership that posted a single underexposed photo. This says more about the dealer than the motorcycle. Represented as a 2019 Iron 883 with only 1,924 miles, the bike appears clean and original. This motorcycle is stone stock, to me an asset. A buyer can modify the bike to his or her liking or leave it alone. I'd ride this bike as is and decide whether or not the 1200 big bore kit with an ECM reflash is necessary. The 883 with EFI is plenty performance for many riders. A carbureted 883 iron head was plenty for the original 1957 to 1971 Sportster owners. Best news for this particular cycle is the asking price of $6,499 for a near-new denim color iron 883 with a solo seat and its original mid-controls. A great ride for anyone who likes the profile and potential of an 883 iron. The late XL1200 CX Roadster is packed with factory handling features, including the beefy 43mm inverted Showa front fork, adjustable suspension, the distinctive dual front disc brakes, and a higher ride height for more lean angle and better cornering. This is not XR1200 or XR1200X handling, but as close as you can get with a production Sportster frame. The factory cafe racer offered here has 16,680 miles, ridden steadily since 2016. If in good condition as depicted, an asking price of $5,800 is right for the bike. Ask the dealer about drops or damage. Ask for any service records. Clean and close to stock, the bike does have a forward controls conversion. Reviews suggest that this might be helpful for riders with a longer inseam. I'm 5 feet 11 inches with a 32-inch inseam, just right for the stock mid-controls and 30.9-inch seat height. Some regard the stock seat height as tall. For a relative comparison, I ride a Honda XR650R Enduro dirt bike with a 37-inch saddle height. By that standard, the Roadster stock seat height would be low. I would restore the mid-controls. This unmodified and highly original 2020 XR1200 CX Roadster features a grabby performance orange paint scheme. Although the bike sparkles with originality, the previous owner was apparently a motorcycle distance commuter. Mileage is a significant 48,603. I added this Sportster to the top 20 ads because its impeccably stock appearance suggests regular service and the owner's appreciation for the bike. The selling Harley-Davidson dealer may have performed routine service, which should be confirmed. A distinct factory cafe look with original mid-controls. The allure of this model is its genuine performance equipment. Two other Evolution Sportster XL models that can negotiate a curvy road are the rigid engine mount XL1200S and XL883R. The XR1200 and XR1200X clearly offer the best performance and handling of any Evolution Sportster-powered motorcycle. The heavier 2016 to 2021 Roadster with EFI and a rubber mount engine boasts adjustable suspension with an increased lean angle and a performance-oriented Showa 43mm inverted front fork with dual disc brakes. The dealer selling this 2020 Roadster has dropped the price $2,000 to $5,991. Objectively, there should still be wiggle room here with the mileage, perhaps shipping to an out-of-area buyer. I would expect to do top engine work on this motorcycle sometime soon, at least a valve and re-ring job. The transmission must shift flawlessly. Unlike the 1986 to 2003 rigid mount models, this 2020 model requires engine removal and complete disassembly to service the gear sets. The SuperLow has a distinct following with its low overall profile and lower solo seat. This 2013 XL883 SuperLow represents an original pristine find. It has a wide, easy seat, large fuel tank with factory mid-controls, EFI, and an overall stock showroom appearance. 5,205 accrued miles since new can be validated by the as new and clearly garaged appearance of this motorcycle. The price of $44.99 stimulated an immediate sale. This bike was gone in a heartbeat and will likely serve its new owner well. Is there a 1200 kit and ECM reflash in its future? If you like the XL883 Iron model, this one begs a follow-up. A 2022 last year Evolution Sportster, the odometer's 710 miles, is barely the break-in period for the final air-cooled V-twin Evolution engine with rubber mounts and EFI. You're buying a piece of history with this motorcycle. Zero modifications, just the way I prefer, reflect the bike's originality. If there is a paper trail back to the selling Harley-Davidson dealership and any service records, that would be optimal. Confirm that the bike is as pristine as it appears in the photos. No drops, accidents, or damage. Warranty may still apply on this showroom-fresh XL883 Iron. The dealership's $8,499 asking price may have wiggle room. This is a Harley-Davidson dealership sale. It could be the original store that sold the bike. When a tight budget drives your decision, take your best shot. This first-year EFI rubber mount engine 2007 XL1200C is offered at an affordable $3,299 asking price. A road bike ready for travel with its larger fuel tank, the Custom shows originality and good maintenance. The purple color is a standout. The profile is pure classic, very clean, with an aftermarket crash bar and sissy bar. If this is the look you like, and if your budget is slim, the 20,914 miles should not be a deal breaker. However, with this kind of mileage, the motorcycle's history is everything. Seeing service records and confirming no drops or damage would be priorities on my list. Transmission gears and the lower engine must be sound. If you can verify that this Custom has been well cared for and garaged, the price is right and may be negotiable. Ridden respectfully, an EFI Evolution Sportster can pass the 50,000-mile mark without major issues. If you prefer a carbureted, rubber-mounted engine and a bike that handles, a model like this 2006 XL1200R Roadster just might do, promising less vibration than a rigid mount engine, a point debated by the channel's subscribers. The 2006 XL1200R is a somewhat rare model. The original 2002 and 2003 XL883 rigid mount engine model emulated an XR750 dirt track racer. This model gained weight and continued into the rubber mount era as the semi-touring XL1200R Cruiser. Double disc front brakes carry from the XL1200S Sport and rigid mount engine XL883R. A 1200 engine makes sense with the added weight inherent to the rubber mount lower engine design. This bike is a pristine, unmodified example and well worth the asking price despite the 29,000 miles on the clock. If as clean and original as the photos depict, the service records would likely be available. Despite the San Diego area listing, it is reasonable to believe that this bike was not exposed to bad weather or corrosive salt air. The XL1200R shows all the appearances of having been garaged since new. As with any other search, make sure the bike is unblemished, original paint, and never dropped, with a clean, non-salvage title. Like any other rubber mount Sportster, make sure the gears shift normally, do not jump out of gear, and do not whine. The Craigslist private party seller asked a reasonable $3,800 for this unique bike with possible collectible value. It sold in days. There is always a degree of risk when buying a pre-owned vehicle. Motorcycles can be wrecked and restored, though usually with a salvage or reconstructed title. Detailing and band-aid repairs can mask signs of neglect, damage, or that sudden seal leak that starved the engine or transmission of oil while the bike was traveling at speed. This can damage the crankshaft and lower engine or transmission bearings. The lower end of the Evolution V-twin engine is very strong if lubrication and maintenance have been adequate. Overheating is always an issue with air-cooled motorcycle engines. Symptoms like dark blue or blackened exhaust header pipes are obvious. Cylinder, valve, and piston damage is not as obvious. How the bike has been ridden can range from conservatively to out-and-out abusively. I have a long-standing metaphor for buying pre-owned muscle cars and performance motorcycles. 1,000 odometer miles can be 4,000 trips through the quarter mile at a drag strip. Size up a private party seller and any signs that the bike has been ridden hard and put away wet. Listen carefully for lower engine noise. Check for clutch slip and blue smoke under acceleration. Blue smoke at startup or after deceleration followed by a throttle blip can signal valve guide and guide seal issues. Motorcycles should always be garaged or sheltered properly. Evolution engines are generally oil-tight and not leakers, which helps when parking. History is everything with pre-owned vehicles. Key concerns are service records, the ownership string, and signs that the current owner protected the bike. When a seller advertises a clean title, ask whether it's a regular title or a salvage title. The Sportster's history and details get sketchy when buying from a dealer. Many dealers will not share the bike's history or service records, often claiming that they are protecting the previous owner's privacy. Reading an Evolution Sportster ad should make better sense now. Ads help us confirm which Sportster models meet our needs, tastes, riding plans, budget, and lifestyle. Studying the market brings us one step closer to making the right choice in a pre-owned Evolution Sportster.